Yes, guys, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. This is, I don't know how I should call this show because it's another regular one that we are going to have for the next 3 months. It's going to be a show where we look at all the transfer stories that have been in the day. So I'll do it at exactly 9:30 because according to the time frame, people in East Africa and people in West Africa, by 10 p.m. you want to go to bed. So I'll try to extend it to 9:30 p.m. So at exactly 9:30 p.m. make sure you've tuned in for this show. We shall basically be discussing all the stories, all the transfer stories that have happened within the day. So make sure you always tune in. Do for me a favor, smash the like button, hit the like button. Of course, it really means a lot. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. That's another thing that you've got to do whenever you reach this channel and you've not subscribed. It's as easy as going down there on the channel name, look at that red button, click on it, and also click on the button, the notification bell actually besides it. It really means a lot as well. So we're going to discuss a couple of stories in this video, from Max Aarons to Jules Kounde, the Emiliano Buendia, David Ornstein has spoken something, Fabrizio Romano has been speaking things around Arsenal, as well as other transfer pundits that we do trust. Why not? We have to discuss all the stories that have been in the day, and that's why I've created this show every 9:30 p.m. Tune in. We discuss all the stories that have been in the day, and of course, every morning at 9 a.m. we have an opener, the morning show. We discuss the early morning transfer news, and then the other programs come in at different intervals. So let us start with Jules Kounde because that is where. That is in the title. Jules Kounde, £50 million. It's been written by. It's been spoken about by David Ornstein, and he said that Arsenal are looking at a centre back. Apparently, they are eyeing a 50 million move for Jules Kounde. Now, Kounde is playing with Sevilla, and he's really, really rated. I think that there are more than 50 clubs that want Jules Kounde. Of course, all the biggest clubs, apart from Manchester City, I think City are a little bit contented with what they have in terms of defense. But Manchester United, Liverpool have been looking at Kounde. I think they're going to sign Konate now. According to Fabrizio, he says the deal is going to be announced very, very soon. So it looks like Liverpool won't be going for Jules Kounde. But one thing I know about Kounde is he is a very highly rated defender. £50 million for a centre back. Well, I don't see Arsenal do that. I don't think we are gonna do that unless we are gonna spend 50 and above million on each and every player. It looks like we want Odegaard. According to Ornstein, we're gonna look at that. It looks like we also want Buendia. We want the likes of Bissouma. So we can't really spend 50 million all over the place. But David Ornstein, if I can actually read from his quote, he said the position of a central attacking midfielder is among Arsenal's priorities, as has been a right centre back. They covet Sevilla's Jules Kounde, but may struggle to attract the 22-year-old Frenchman, who will cost around £50 million and is likely to want Champions League football. That is as per David Ornstein. I've already retweeted this, so make sure you follow me on Twitter. Arsenal podcast Cossy. You'll get all these stories. But I think Ornstein has said this before, that if there is if there are transfer priority positions at Arsenal, then a centre back is one of them. I never expected. I never thought we would have a centre back as a priority. I thought we were going to deal with midfielders, and midfielders. But it looks like at the end of the day, Arsenal want to go to go in and get a centre back. Looking at Jules Kounde, of course, we've been linked with a couple of others, the likes of Adebayo from Fulham, the likes of Paul Torres from Villarreal, the likes of Konate from RB Leipzig. Konate will be signing for Liverpool. So we've been linked with a couple of them. And I think these reports stem from the fact that David Luiz has announced that he's going to leave the club at the end of the season. So it looks like Arsenal may not want to get in a defender, but reports will link us to defenders, obviously, to fill that void of David Luiz. Now, we have William Saliba. And if you tell me that we're looking at Jules Kounde for 50 million, yet we have William Saliba, it won't make sense. The only way it would make sense, in my opinion, is if we're looking at a player like Kalidou Koulibaly, because Koulibaly has the experience, Koulibaly has the pedigree. If you're telling me that you're dumping Saliba to go for someone who has experience, to go for someone who has pedigree, that's a little bit understandable. But if Arsenal is really trying to sign, a defender, like Jules Kounde, a defender like Paul Torres, it won't make a lot of sense for me. Honestly, it won't really make a lot of sense for me. So, the decision for Arsenal to go for a centre back must be very much guided. Losing David Luiz is something that I understand. It's a big problem at Arsenal. We've lost. No, if we lose David Luiz, it's something that you're losing a lot. You're losing experience. You're losing leadership. You're losing that that defender, that character in the side that you do not have. But if you replace David Luiz with Jules Kounde, I mean, it would be a wastage of money. You would rather give William Saliba time, a chance. All of them are, in the same bracket. I think Saliba's done well on at Nice. He just needs a chance. He just needs that opportunity to break through and make himself known. So Kounde, very good defender, very good centre back, but with William Saliba, it's not a deal I'll do at the moment. And like I said, I think we have more transfer priorities. You have the likes of Dinos Mavropanos at the moment. You have the likes of, like I said, Saliba. You have players like Rob Holding. I don't know whether Rob Holding is going to become a serious player. Honestly, I don't know, because this season has been a joke. So I don't know whether he's going to become a serious player. But whether he becomes a serious player or not, we can deal with the effects of not signing in a centre back in the next summer. And I think, like Mikel said, Saliba is coming back. He's gonna get his chance. He's gonna get his time. Let us give him time. Let us try and see what he can offer. Because even if we don't have William Saliba, we can play a back three. We can play Pablo Mari, Gabriel Magalhaes, and probably Rob Holding or Callum Chambers or Kian Tierney. We can play. We can still play a back three and survive. But we cannot survive without a right back. We can't survive without a central midfielder. We can't survive without an attacking midfielder. And I think the sources, the fans, that we would divert from these positions to a centre back, it wouldn't make sense for me. It really wouldn't make sense for me. So I don't doubt David Onstein when he says Arsenal are looking at a centre back as a priority. But my opinion as an Arsenal fan is we shouldn't be looking at a centre back as a priority. We should be looking at very different areas. Honestly, that's my opinion. We should be looking at very different areas apart from a centre back. And of course, talking about very different areas, Edu and Mikel Arteta, according to Devin Onstein, still are saying that he says Edu and Mikel Arteta think highly of Emi Buendia and could take it further if they do not land their first choice target in Martin Odegaard. It is not only English sides who have an eye on Emi Buendia. A major continental outfit are believed to have inquired last week. So there is competition. That's the first thing we know. There is competition on Emi Buendia, and he is not our first priority. So if we do not do the deal, it would be typically because he's not our priority. We are not looking at him as our first choice. We want to start, first get Martin Odegaard. If we fail to get Odegaard, then we shall go for Emi Buendia. And of course, today on his on the Athletic, Osteen has been writing, and he said that Norwich expect a move, and Buendia also expects a move. So it looks like we're not the only teams interested, and we've got to stop this slow business. If we are going to sign Odegaard and we are sure, let us sign him. Let us do the deal. If Real Madrid do not want us to retain the player, we should know as early as possible so that we go for players that are available. It would be hugely embarrassing if we do not get Martin Odegaard because Real Madrid, at some point in time feel like he's part of their project, and then some outfit like Onstein is saying has taken Emi Buendia, and then we start struggling naming Jack Grealish as one of our transfer priorities. That would be ridiculous because that's a deal we will never do. That's a deal that we do not have the money, and we've got to accept the fate of Arsenal and such deal. So, in my opinion, if Buendia is not our first priority, then we've got to speed up the Martin Odegaard deal. The moment Real Madrid fail to agree terms with us, then we let go of the deal, because honestly, Arsenal is never going to pay £50 million. What if Real Madrid are looking at £50 million or 45 in Martin Odegaard? Are we going to pay that money? If you're not going to pay the money, then leave the deal. At least try to negotiate your way around with Norwich, because I know they can listen to 35, they can listen to 32, they can listen to 33 million pounds. Money you're never gonna pay, in one shot. You're always gonna pay it in installments and things like that. So I still think, the better thing to do for Arsenal, what you want to do as Arsenal is try to make sure you can have both deals done at least at the same time. Make sure if Martin Odegaard fails, you get Emi Buendia. If Buendia fails, you get Odegaard. But the nature of Arsenal and how we do our transfers doesn't change, does it? And you can never get surprised when we miss out on both players. That's what happened last summer. We almost missed out on Partey and Houssem Aouar, and the reason was Partey had reached a time when he was a little bit frustrated. If it was not for the release clause, trust me, we would never have signed Thomas Partey. And then Houssem Aouar, after dragging the deal for almost a season, a summer, the whole transfer window, the deal fails. So I look at these two deals in the same way. You want Odegaard, you might negotiate with Real Madrid for almost a whole season, a whole summer, and when the season starts, he plays 2 games and he's good, and Real Madrid say, you know what, you're never gonna sell him, and then you go back to Norwich and they have started their season and they tell you the player is gonna stay, or he has signed a new contract, and then you find yourselves in the mud. You need an attacking midfielder urgently, so we need to speed up. We need to speed up. I don't have any issues with Arsenal prioritizing Martin Odegaard. I don't have any problems with that. He's been a great player. He's adapted to the English league. He's adapted to Arsenal as well. He has already created that chemistry and that bonding between him and Arsenal players. So he has an advantage over Emi Buendia, and there is a lot he has to offer as a player. I think there is a lot we have not seen from Martin Odegaard. Honestly, I wouldn't have any issues with him as a player, and as long as we can get a good creative midfielder, in him, and then getting a central midfielder who's basically good, I think we shall have a very, very decent midfield. In the other reports today, apart from Jules Kounde, Martin Odegaard, and Emi Buendia, Fabrizio Romano has said that Arsenal are very serious on signing Max Aarons, and of course there have also been reports on Tariq Lamptey from the Independent. Now the Independent have said Arsenal look likely, and they're leading the race for Javis Bissouma and Tariq Lamptey. We are leading the race, but they didn't really specify whether a deal is closed. They didn't really specify anything. Just like Fabrizio, he said, Arsenal are serious about a move for Max Aarons. They will want to try to get him, but again, he has not specified whether a deal is in the pipeline. He has not really specified where Arsenal have reached in terms of getting the player. So we might not expect much, really. We might not really. We might not expect much in terms of Arsenal signing Tariq Lamptey and Max Aarons at the moment. It just remains mere interest, pure interest, that the club is interested. But that's another area I've talked about as a priority area. And I said, if Arsenal, if there is an area we need to look at, urgently, is the right back. You need to sign in a good right back. The likes of Hector Bellerin, I'm just looking at him on my screen, battling out with Emi Buendia. So the likes of Hector Bellerin, the likes of Chambers, the likes of Cedric, those are players that we cannot rely on. I mean, You can't rely on them. There's nothing you'll ever get from relying on such players. So honestly, the biggest thing to do, the greatest thing we can ever do to ourselves, the greatest service we can ever do is to urgently get in the right backs. Tariq Lamptey is decent. Max Aarons is a finished article. So it will depend on our negotiation. It will depend on our money, who comes in and who doesn't come in. But there is just one more story I would love to discuss on this show as we just close it. It's about Josh Kroenke making another promise to Mikel Arteta. Now, I don't know what really this means, but we've had a couple of them now. We've really had a couple of them. Josh Kroenke trying to promise heaven and earth to Mikel Arteta. And Mikel Arteta in his press conference, of course, he came out and said Josh Kroenke wants to make this club great again. But if you still remember, in the previous fan forum, Josh Kroenke said the business model they are running does not allow them to make those massive investments. And then when Mikel says he wants to make the club great again, I don't know what it means. I really don't understand what it means, but probably we shall get to know. This is the time. It's the summer. We have already started. I told you we'll be shooting almost 4 or 5 stories a day on a daily basis, trying to understand the Arsenal transfer situation and report on the stories and try to do potential lineups and predicted lineups and try to understand our club and how we can fix it, because that is what we want in this transfer summer: how to fix Arsenal. So never miss this show. It will always come out at 9:30 p.m. It has come out 40 minutes later. Today, I do understand that the time issues, especially for people in Africa. So I'll make sure that I do adjust accordingly. My name is Cossy. I'll speak to you early in the morning at exactly 9 a.m.